coming up. Yeah.
In progress.
Okay, guys, give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Fantastic. Okay, so today, seeing it's January 2025, I just want to talk about what your 2025 may be looking like or what you can do to make it look better. Time is short, as always, and there'll be a heap of information, as always. So a bit like drinking out of a fire hose, although garden hoses are good. So who am I? I'm not going to go through that. You all know who I am and what I've done. But bottom line is, what I'm going to be talking about is really the, how do we put this? Yeah, it's the fruits of 30 plus years running around doing this sort of stuff for businesses. Now, there's only 110 business days left in this financial year. So a lot of people I've been talking to are saying, oh yeah, I've got 5.5 months before June 30th. You don't, you've got 110 days, and that includes weekends. So if you want to take them out, there's not a lot of time left. So if your financial year isn't looking the way you want it to, it's not too late, but it's almost too late to take remedial action on things. In terms of 2025, there are 238 business days. So that I've taken the weekends out. So 238 days isn't a lot. 1,904 working hours isn't a lot. That's providing if you do 8 hours a day. Most of us are small business owners. We would tend to do more than that, I would imagine. But just if you're sort of feeling comfortable, it's the beginning of the year and all that sort of stuff, use this to wake yourself up. You got 238 business days to achieve what you want to achieve in 2025, and they'll fly past really, really fast. So here's some questions to ask yourself. How are you tracking? I've been talking to some people in the last week, and they don't have this year planned yet. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it in February or maybe March, or when the kids are back at school, I'll get to it. So if you haven't planned your year already, I'd suggest you might like to do it. And the usual thing is plan your personal stuff first. Get your holidays that you're going to take this year into your calendar. Get the long weekends that you want to take away. Get in your birthdays, your anniversaries. Get in any concerts or theatre events you're going to. Get all the personal stuff in first. Then fill it in with things like the promotions you're running, regular meetings you're having with clients or staff or board meetings or whatever you're doing. And once you've got those things there, then you've got to look at your budget. What are your sales going to be each month, each week for the year? And what are your costs likely to be? Have you got marketing in place? Whoever that is, can they kill their mic? Thanks, Malcolm. So bottom line is, if you're sitting here in January the 21st or whatever it is, thinking that you've got plenty of time to plan, you don't. You need to really get onto it. One of the clear things you need to have is a revenue goal for the year. Now, whether you're working financial year or calendar year or working both, what's your financial goal for 2025? Are you hoping to do the same as 2024? Was 2024 a great year for you, or was it a so-so year like it was for many of us? If you're going to use last year's figure as a base, what are you moving it up by? Are you going to try and double last year? Are you going to raise it by inflation? Or maybe you're not concerned so much with your income. Maybe the work you do is more concerned with impact on your local community or a group of people. Bottom line is, money means choice. So the more money you generate, the more choices you can make to help people, to help your loved ones, and to build your business. Here's a question for this year. How do you want to work in 2025? Do you want to be elbows deep in the business and hands-on every day? Do you want to be working directly one-to-one with your clients? Or do you want to be working remotely? Do you want to be sitting on the beach in Koh Samui and dialing in and talking to people? Or do you just want to be doing the things you love, which means you've got VAs or staff around you who are doing all the stuff that's important in a business, but which quite frankly gives you the willies? But have you thought about this in your plan for this year? How do you want to work in 2025? And who do you want to reach this year? You want to reach tons of people because you're going to broaden your message out there? Or do you want to go very, very deep to just a select few people and try and get them working with you? Do you want to reactivate past clients, or do you want to maybe pivot and shift entirely to someone new? And if you're going to do that, how are you going to reach them? Hopefully you weren't going to use TikTok because it's gone, it's back, and it sounds like it's going to go again. So how are you going to reach people? Are you clear on this? your ultimate why. Is your ultimate why for running your business financial freedom, more time with your family? You want to make a dent in the universe? Have you got something to prove? What's your ultimate? Why do you do what you do? I teach people, most of us, we actually have two faces. We have a public face and we have a private face. And both of those have a why. So my private why is I'm good at what I do. I love doing it. And it enables me to give my family as good a lifestyle as I possibly can. But if I came to you, Chris, and said, Chris, you should work with me because I want to give my family a good lifestyle, you'd probably say not so much, right? So we need to have a public face where the values in that are congruent with our private face. So my public face is quite simply, I want to help 100,000 small business people get to 200 grand a year turnover, because I know at that level, them and their loved ones are going to be having a fantastic life. Now, that's not against my private face. It enables me to use my skills. But I tell you what, you'd rather work with me if I said, I want you to be one of the people that I'm helping to get to 200K rather than one of the others. Part of planning is also to look back over your shoulder. It's not to be controlled by the past, but you need to acknowledge the past. So what held you back last year? I've yet to meet anyone who said last year they achieved everything they wanted to, including myself. So you need to do a bit of self-assessment analysis. What held you back? Was it a lack of knowledge? Were you so scared of failure that you just didn't try something? Were you overwhelmed from trying to do too much, or did you go down the rabbit hole, it's AI, and suddenly realize you'd spent a month playing around with prompts and actually not achieved anything or sold anything? Were you trying to be a lone ranger and do everything yourself instead of understanding that we are usually better when we partner with people, or at least we get some help, and we need to identify what they call our zone of genius, the thing that we're very good at, the thing we love doing, and getting help to get rid of the things that we're not so good doing. Maybe there was too much change too fast for you last year, or maybe you didn't have a clear plan. If your issues with 2024 were you didn't have a clear plan, don't repeat it in 2025. The good news is you've still got time. As I said, 288 odd business days to the end of the year, 1,904 hours, working hours at 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to get things done. The thing is, to get them done, you've got to take action. You've got to take lots of action. So here's the first step you should do. You should write out your dream finish to 2025. How do you want to end up the year? And break it up into things like personal, financial, health, relationships. You decide what the different facets are, but just write out your dream outcome. Decide what a successful end of the year actually looks like and what it means to you. Does it mean 3 weeks holiday without having to worry about the business running? Does it mean tripling your income from last year? I don't know. That's up to you, but write down something that is meaningful to you. Then break it down into quarterly, then monthly, then weekly steps. Create 90-day plans with one major goal for each 30 days that you work on. Put them in sequence between now and December, and then break the weeks down into daily steps using the 5x5. You should all know the 5x5, having heard me talk about it. That's where 5 o'clock at night, you sit down, you do a brain dump, and you pick the 5 things you'll have done by 5 o'clock the following evening. And you feel really good each day when you put a line through those 5 things and go home, because there's a sense of accomplishment happening. All right. And the key thing there is, I suppose, get started. It's easier to get what you want when you know what you want. It's damn sight harder if you're just rocking forward and letting life happen to you. Step 2. Review what your service or your product offering is. Is it still relevant to the marketplace that you're playing in? Are you differentiated enough to stand out from people? One of the trainings I'll be doing in a few weeks, I'm going to be talking about points of difference and unique selling propositions again. Can you improve what you're offering to the marketplace? Can you retarget it? Can you update it? Can you reprice it? Can you add to it? Any of those things there, once you've written them down and thought about them, then create a plan to do whichever one needs doing. Lots of us have a successful product or service that sells like hotcakes for year after year until it doesn't. And then we get caught. What we should be doing is reviewing what we're offering all the time. Step 3, what's your visibility like in your market? Have you become invisible? Now, has Facebook shut down your Facebook group, so you've lost contact with 1,000 people? Have you jumped onto X and suddenly found yourself in a right-wing bubble that's praising Trump and cursing Biden and all the rest of it? how visible are you to your marketplace? And if you are invisible, then how can you increase your visibility? Can you improve your social media? Can you retarget it? Are you using the right social media? Facebook these days is basically for people aged 38 and above, with the real hotspots, people 45 and above. Instagram's still young. TikTok, of course, is for the youngies. But if you're in a business-to-business environment, sadly, X is important, but LinkedIn's even more so, even though it's a poor man's Facebook at the moment. But if you're putting all your time into Facebook and Instagram when you're trying to do B2B and not doing much on LinkedIn, you're staying invisible. If you're advertising, doing paid ads, can you improve them? Can you do the reach? Whether you like them or hate them, Facebook's ads are the most granular, the most fantastic ad system in the world. You can get down to such a granular level with people. You can be targeting people in the next suburb over from you. You've got 2 university degrees. You really need to be thinking about it if you're doing paid ads. Are your promotions still working? Again, are you promoting a product that's no longer relevant to your marketplace? Or are your promotions exciting? Or are you trying to still do 5-day challenges and all that sort of thing that have maybe become a bit passé? Maybe you should decide on a promotion a month for 2025 and then promote them for 2 weeks, run them for 1 week, and then get on to the next one. Or maybe it's every 2 months. Again, ask yourself these questions and then create a plan to do one or all of the above. Step number 4. What sources of friction do you have that are holding you back or getting in your way? Now, you've got 3 things you can do with them. You can remove them, you can reduce them, or you can endure them. Again, if there are things happening in your business, if you've got clunky systems or processes, if you don't have a good client onboarding system, if perhaps your sales funnel's leaking all over the place, they're sources of friction. Sources of friction can be something as simple as your health. If you're not looking after your health, that can create enormous friction in your business because it negatively affects your ability to actually perform the top level in business for yourself and your clients. So identify what things are causing friction in your ability to meet your plans for 2025 and decide, can I remove it? Can I reduce its effect? Or can I just decide I have to endure them? And then again, create a plan to do one or more of the above. Step 5, this is a key question I revisit with my clients always, pretty much every 10 to 12 weeks, and that is, how much is enough? It's not just the money question, although money is important, because as I said, money equals choice. The more money you've got, the more choices you can make, but you need to decide how much is enough money. Is it Richard Branson level, in which case we've all got a long way to go? Or is it, or do you want a lifestyle business? A lifestyle business, by definition, is a business that turns over 350 grand a year and probably has 80% as its profit margin. What do you want? How much is enough money? How much is enough travel? How much is enough date nights with your significant other? How many cars do you need? How many cruises do you want to go on? Make a list of different areas of your life and ask yourself, how much is enough? And then when you know how much is enough, particularly financially, then if that's the amount of money you need to live the life you want, ask yourself, doing what I'm doing, am I going to achieve this by the end of the year? Maybe. Or if you don't think you're going to achieve it, then either create a new target or take your how much is enough money and make that your real target and work like hell to figure out how you're going to get to it. The other thing too is to understand that how much is enough to live the life you want in terms of finances is generally a lot less than you think it needs to be. Step 6, start working within your sphere of influence, within your network. You heard Alan say before, he collaborates and partners with people within this group and outside the group all the time. So think about this group. Go onto the BCW website, pull up the member list and go through it and go, is this someone I can partner with? And the ideal partner for all of us is someone who serves the same customers or clients as we do, but is not a direct competitor. So if you think about partnership that way, all right, who do you know who can introduce you to someone you'd like to meet or you'd like to work with? Who do you know is a likely client? Right? Can you reactivate previous clients? And who can you access in your network to do any or all of those things above? If you're not looking at your network, you're missing things. Step 7 is to sort of take back a bit more control of your time. Give up one Netflix show a week. Too many people spend endless hours in front of the TV, tablet in hand, with a Netflix phone in the background, and they're doom scrolling on Instagram, and they've got some noise happening in Netflix, and they're doing nothing. We can do better than that. Block off a non-negotiable 60-minute block every second day to work on your year-end plan, so you keep it fresh and you're knocking things off. Whatever time you save by deciding to reduce social media usage or Netflix usage, use that time wisely. One of the things that annoys me the most is when people say, why do you mow your lawn? That's a $20 an hour job. You shouldn't be doing that. You should pay someone to do it. Well, a couple of things there. Firstly, you've got to have the $20 an hour to spare to pay someone to mow your lawns. But the other thing is, when someone's mowing the lawns, what are you doing? Are you sitting inside watching Netflix and having a beer, or are you actually doing something in your business? So think about that. If you're saving time, how are you going to spend it? If you don't have 60 minutes, we'll answer this. Can you wake up 30 minutes earlier? Can you sacrifice, as I said, one episode of one show on Netflix? Can you reduce your screen time on social media or email by 20 minutes? If finishing 2025 is a priority, then you've got to treat it like one. And that means some sacrifice. Remember, the definition of an entrepreneur is someone who's willing to live as few people will, so that in the end, they can live as few people can. Step 8, get help. Use the resources that Be Connected World provides you. Do your blogs, put up your videos, get exposure that way. Go to the membership and find yourself partners. Get onto the CRM. If you don't have the CRM, look at CRM Lite, which is the free version. You need to have one. Use the VA or the BCW Assist service. We now can offer you VAs who will help you set up your CRM, and eventually we're going to expand that service. But if you don't have a VA to do some of the scut work and stuff that you don't want to do, now's the time to be looking at it, right? We've got a VA on here who's been around for a long time. Hello. So, talk to her about how she can make your life easier. Most of us hate admin work. Most of us hate that sort of stuff. So this is where VAs are absolute gold. They free you to spend more time in your genius zone. Identify what you have a lack of and find a course. If you think you need to do public speaking, and go and talk to Dr. Chris Williams about getting to do better online, all right? If you've got a lack, if you've got an obvious lack of skills, then find a course to do it or get some expert help. Rattle my own drum, get a coach to help you do things, for God's sake, but don't just stay the way you are if you know there's things that you need to learn, all right? Stop being a Lone Ranger, because even the Lone Ranger had Tonto and Silver to help him get out of trouble. So here's the wrap up. You need to know what you want for 2025. You need to decide a firm target and set a firm goal. You need to identify and remove what sources of friction you have that are holding you back from achieving it. You need to know how much is enough, not just money, but also in terms of all those other things like holidays and time with loved ones. You should break it down into weekly and then daily steps, but I'd start off doing quarterly steps, 90-day plans, 30-day plans, and break it down from there. Review your service or your product offering to make sure it's still relevant to the marketplace. You're still solving a problem that people want solved, and they'll still pay for it. Reach out to your network and to your past clients. Plan one promotion a month or two promotions, a promotion every 2 months to the end of the year. Sacrifice some downtime, and for God's sake, commit to acting. If you need some help, my details are in the chat. More than happy to have a chat with you. Not a sales call. Let's have a chat and see if I can help you out. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thanks very much for that. Okay, does anybody have any questions for Geoff?